notice, and this is a typical copyright. We continue with the mathematics syllabus for CSEC 2018 to 2027. Schedule of videos. I am hoping that by the end of September 2024, that is this month, that I will have all 32 videos from section 1, number theory and computation, published on YouTube. And then October next month, 2024, consumer arithmetic, and so on. November, December, measurement, that will take us to the end of the year. Beginning the new year, 2025, statistics, followed by algebra in February. Then in March, relations, functions, and graphs. April, geometry and trigonometry. And finally, May 2025, by mid-May, vectors and matrices. Just a reminder that I have subdivided section 1 into 32 videos, all of which will be made available on YouTube in their entirety. This section forms the foundation on which the rest of the syllabus is based. How well you can handle this section will predict how well you will do with the rest of the syllabus. So the work in these 32 videos will have been done in Forms 1 to Form 3. So you have that foundation to continue in Form 4. As of now, we have completed these 16 videos listed here, and we are now here, video 22, where we will be dealing with decimal places. What you see here is a print screen from the syllabus, and you will notice it says express a value to a given number of significant figures, and then also decimal places. And it specifies 1, 2, or 3 significant figures, and also 0, 1, 2, or 3 decimal places, which means that I have divided the objective into 2 videos, and we will deal with decimal places first, since that is the easier concept. So we are here. Now let us say that you worked out a question and you got the answer shown above. You got this answer shown above. The question requires you to round it off to a specified number of decimal places. Before we get to that, let's consider this number carefully. If you write it down like that, you know that this 7 is in the ones position, that 6 is in the tens position, that 3 is in the hundreds position, that 4 is in the thousands position, and so on going to the left. This objective deals especially with from this 1 position going to the right. Now this 8 here is in the 1 decimal place. It actually is in the position of the tenths, that is 1/10. This 5 here, 2 decimal places. As you can see from the decimal point to the right, this 5 is 2 digits away, so it is known as 2 decimal places, and that represents 1/100ths. And then of course this 2 is in the 3rd decimal place, and it is located in the 1000 position, and so on. Now that we know that, where this 1 is 0 decimal place, where this 8 is 1 decimal place, that 5, 2 decimal place, that 2, 3 decimal places. So you are to round off this answer to 0 decimal place, 0 decimal place. So remember, that is 1 decimal place, that would be 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places. Where is 0 decimal place? Well, it is in this position here, the ones position. So when it says round off to 0 decimal place, it is saying round off to the nearest whole number. So let us consider this number line. If we place at this point 4,367 here, and we go over to the right, and here we locate the point 4,368, that's a difference of 1, then 4,367.5 will fall exactly halfway between those two numbers. We can put 4,367.1 here, 0.2 here, 0.3, 0.4 at these lines, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, and then 0.9, that is these marks here. Now let us try to place 4,367.85. Now remember, we are rounding off here. So we will look at the next two digits on the right and try to place them on this number line. So 4,367.8 is here. 0.85 will be halfway between there. So we can put a marker here. So the question I want to ask is now, if we consider from the point we are to the next digit at the place we want to round off, and we consider the previous digit from the place we want to round off, this point here, this point here, this point here, which number is it closer to? Is it closer to 4,367 or 4,368? Well, obviously, you can see that that blue line is much shorter than this green line. So 4,367, we are rounding off here. That's where we want to round off. We look at the number on the right, or the two numbers on the right, and if that pass the halfway point, we will drop this and increase that 7 by 1 to make it 8. So our answer will be 4,368 meters. That's rounding off to 0 decimal place, or to the nearest whole number, or rounding off at the ones position. Those are three different ways of saying the same thing. If you find this video useful and interesting, please like and share. Like, share. And you may even consider subscribing to this channel. As I said before, it doesn't cost you anything, and it means a lot to me. So in that case, we were rounding off to 0 decimal place. So let us say you work the question, and this time you get the same answer. But now you want to round off to 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place. So let's put that number back into the grid. We know that this is the ones position, tens, hundreds, thousands, but we are not going on the left. We are coming towards the right. This 8 here is in the 1 decimal place. That is to say, the 8 is in the first position after the decimal point. So we are rounding off to the nearest tenth. Of course, we know this 5 is 2 decimal places away in the hundredths position, and this 2 is 3 decimal places away in the thousandth position. All right, so let's see what we will do. This time, we will consider this number line in a little more detail. And to the left here, we will have 4,367.8, that is this point here. And to the right, we will have 4,367.9, that is this point. So between 0.8 and 0.9, we will divide that up into 10 equal parts. So this will be, the middle part will be 0.85. This here will be 0.81, 0.82 at the mark, 0.83, 0.84, 0.85 there, 0.86, 0.87, 0.88, 0.89. So where are we rounding off? We are rounding off at this 8. So let us consider the next 2 digits on the right of 8. It is 5, 2. So that will be somewhere between this 8, 5 and this 8, 6. So we will put it here. So now our question again is, if we consider from where the number is located to this next higher number, and the one that is the previous lower number, that is 4,367.8 to 4,367.9, which one is this arrow closer to? This blue line here is shorter than that green line. So if we are rounding off 4,367.852 at this position here, at the 8th position, we look at the 2 digits on the right. If there are 5 or more, we will drop that and increase this digit by 1. And so we get 4,367.9 meters. Now we have that same number and we want to round off to 2 decimal places. That means after the point, you must have 2 digits. So we set it up back on the grid. By now you know this very well. This is the 0 decimal place or the nearest whole number. This position here is 1 decimal place. You could see 1 digit after the decimal point. This position here is 2 decimal places. You can see 2 digits after the decimal point. So we want to round off at this 5. So let's put that on our number line again. This time we have 4,367.85 here. And over on this side, we have 4,367.86. We will divide the space between there in 10 equal parts. So this is the midpoint. This here is the midpoint. So 0.851, 0.852, 0.853, 0.854, 0.856, 857, 0.858, 0.859. Let's place this 2 on that number line. It falls here. So the question is, which of these 2 end numbers is it closer to? As you can see, this green line here is fairly short as opposed to this blue line, which is fairly long. So it is closer to this number that ends in the 5 than this one that ends in the 6. So let's consider our number again. So we are rounding off here at the 5. Look at the digit on the right. If it is 4 or less, you just drop it. So our answer is 4,367.85 meters. And then we change that number a little by adding a 7 to the end here. And this time, we want to express that number correct to 3 decimal places. So if we set it up on the grid again, now remember this 8 is at the 1 decimal place, this 5 is at the 2 decimal place, and this 2 is at the 3 decimal place. So we want to round off at this position. Now we have a 7 over here. So let's put that on this number line again. This point here, we will consider it as 4,367.852. And this point over here is 4,367.853. In between, we have 10 divisions. This is the midpoint, 4,367.8525. And this will be 21, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5 is there, 2, 6, 2, 7, 2, 8, 2, 9, and then we go up to 3. So let's consider the digit 1 or 2 digits. In this case, we only have 1. Immediately to the right of the place we want to round off, which is this 7. Where on this number line we will find 2, 7. And as you can see, it is here. So now, from this starting point, 0.852, we have that green line, to this next number in the series, we have this blue line. Which of these lines is shorter? In other words, this 0.857, is it closer to 0.852 or 0.853? Because this blue line is shorter, then it is closer to 0.853. So we are rounding off here at that 2. We consider that 7. It is 5 or more. We will cross it out and increase that 2 by 1. And so we get 4,367.853. So let's summarize what we have learned about rounding off numbers based on the required decimal places. If the digit to the right of the place at which you want to round off is less than 5, you drop that digit and any others to its right. That's about it. Example, if you have 34.398 and you want to round off to the 0 decimal place, that is here, this digit on the right is less than 5, you just drop the whole thing and your answer is 34. Or 325.782, we want to round off to 2 decimal places, so you count 1, 2, we are rounding off at this 8. This digit on the right of 8 is less than 5, so you just drop it and your answer is 325.78. That is if the digit is less than 5 on the right of where you want to round off. Now, if the digit to the right of the place where you want to round off is 5 or more, then you will drop that digit and any others to its right, but this time you will add 1 to the rounded off position. For example, 34.798, you want to round off to 0 decimal place, that is where this 4 is. But look at the digit on its right, it is 7. So you will drop all of that and increase that 4 to 5, so you get 35. The next one below it, 381.57 rounded off to 1 decimal place, that is, you want to round off at this 5. The digit on its right is 7, so you drop the 7 and increase that 5 to 6, so you get 381.6. So let's see how well you have learned this. We have 10 items here. I have listed some numbers, and then we have some required decimal places. I'll give you a few seconds to guess your answer, and then I'll show you what the answer is. So example 1, we want 1 decimal place. We want to round off here. So what is your answer? 26.3. Next one, we want 2 decimal places. That is, we want to round off at that 5. So what is your answer? 26.36 grams. Next one, 0 decimal place. 0 decimal place. That is here. Your answer? 26. Next one, 1 decimal place. That is 1 decimal place. 1 digit after the decimal point. Your answer? 6.5. Next one, 3 decimal places. 1, 2, 3 decimal. You are rounding off at that 0 position. Your answer? 4.711. Next one, 2 decimal places. 1, 2, you are rounding off at this 5 position. Your answer? 21.45. Question 7, 2 decimal places. Here. Your answer? 3.57. Next one, 0 decimal place, 0 decimal place, that is here. Your answer? 4. Number 9, 1 decimal place. Well, the thing about it, we only have 1 decimal place here. So there is nothing to round off. Your answer is what is given there, 6.7. Last one, 3 decimal places, 1, 2, 3 digits after the point. Your answer, 2.451. So we were dealing with decimal places, 0, 1, 2, or 3 decimal places, rounding off numbers to those decimal places. This, and next we will deal with significant figures, but you need to know about rounding off numbers to specific decimal places before we can do significant figures. And that brings us to the end of video 1 of Objective 9 in Section 1.